All right, good evening, everybody. I just want to make sure you can hear me well, loud and clear. So please say a hi or give me a wave or something so I'm sure you can hear me, you can see me fine. All right, Anita, I see your hand. Patricia Ayib, I see your hand. Thank you very much. I have a hi here. All right, so I believe you can all hear and see me. So we're just gonna give everybody about a minute or so. People are still joining in. So yes, Auntie Tina, I see you. Thank you so much for joining. So we'll just give everybody a few more minutes and then we'll get into the business of the day, just about a minute or two, and then we'll get started. Okay. Hi, Auntie Stella. Hi, Senna. Mr. Ayim, Patricia Ayim. I guess that's maybe a Mr. and Mrs. there. Mr. Odnil Ama, Mr. Michael Dodo, Marion Dogbe, Mr. Kwame Mbwate, Kobina Kwanza. So Esther is on, KB, Anita, Angie Ado. Welcome, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, Senna. Thanks for joining. All right. So Auntie Sarah, thanks for joining. All right, we have about 17 people. Let's just give them about a minute or so. I know it's a holiday, everybody is kind of relaxing. It's a very relaxing Monday. So let's just give everybody just one more minute and then we'll get started. So I'll just get ready to share my screen. Yes, Auntie Stella, it's great to see you here. We're going to have a lot of fun today. Okay. All right, so we're going to get started here. Now, did you know that 80% of the world's population has suffered from back pain within the last 1 year? 80% of the population, that is, have experienced some amount of back pain within the last 1 year. Now, 33% of requests for leaves of absence in the industrialized world is due to musculoskeletal disease like back and neck pain. Okay, so a lot of people have back pain, and in the industrialized world, those of you who are working in the industrialized world, about 33% of the time when you're asking for leave of absence, it is due to neck and back pain. So just keep these statistics in mind. I didn't introduce myself. My name is Dr. Na Ashile Dodo. Some of you may have met me. Some of you, it's your first time joining us on Zoom. And some of you may have been to the clinic before. And I'm very happy to have everybody here. I want to take this opportunity to say a very, very happy Workers' Day to all of us. I'm the CEO of Nova Wellness Center. I'm a certified ergonomist from the American Postural Institute, and I'm also a DRX 9000 spinal decompression certified doctor. So let's get right into it. What is ergonomics? When we say ergonomics, what exactly are we talking about? Another name for ergonomics is human factors. Now, before I continue, just a few housekeeping things here. We'll have lots of time at the end of the presentation. So keep your questions. You can put them in the chat box. My team members are also with us. They may try to answer the ones that they can, and then the ones that are not answered, by the time I'm through with the presentation, I will answer them for you. Don't worry at all. Just so we can get through quickly, I will answer all questions at the end, and you would be muted throughout this presentation. And then when we are done, you would use the raise your hand feature. You could also put questions in the question and answer chat box when we're done. And then you just have to raise your hand if you'd like to speak, and then we'll unmute you at that point so that you can speak. All right, so ergonomics is also known as human factors. It is also the design or modification of the workplace to match the capabilities and characteristics of the worker. This is from PubMed. Now, the relationship between the worker and all the gadgets and accoutrements needed by the worker to work efficiently is also known as ergonomics. It is also how a particular person is fitted to a particular job. Now, we have good and bad ergonomics. With good ergonomics, it's tailored to fit a particular worker's habits and its daily activities while maintaining physical and cognitive wellness. Now, with bad ergonomics, there's no specificity for the individual. There's repetitive and monotonous activities which cause muscle strain, joint problems, imbalance, pain, etc. An example of a condition that arises from bad ergonomics is what we call carpal tunnel syndrome. So carpal tunnel syndrome is after you have been typing with poor wrist posture for so long, you start having some wrist pain, especially towards the midsection of your wrist area, and that is called carpal tunnel syndrome. Now, ergonomics is more than just your chair. A lot of the times people ask me, what chair should I use? What is good? And when we hear of ergonomics, that's the first thing that comes to mind. But ergonomics is so much more than your chair. Ergonomics has got to do with 4 broad areas. We have the functional ergonomics, we have brain-based ergonomics, we have environmental and posture-based ergonomics. Now, we'll start with functional ergonomics. So how functional is your workspace? Whatever work activity you have, is your workstation properly suited so that you can perform your activities at 100% or to your best capability? An example, so some of you would know that I recently moved my office to a new location. So we got in the adjustment room, we put in a partition just like we did in the old office, but this adjustment room is a little smaller than the old office. So we realized that once we put that partition there, the space for each table was really, really small. I was very uncomfortable with my doing my adjustments, and within a day, I had to pull that partition down. So my workspace wasn't functional anymore. Although I thought I could simply move the space of the old office to the new location, it didn't work that way. That's how functional ergonomics is looked at. Are you able to move your arms freely? Do you have enough leg room? Where your screen is located or where your screen is it directly opposite your natural light source? For instance, if it's opposite your natural light source, you realize that you have what we call glare on the screen. And so it also affects the way your eyes see. Air, ventilation, especially now with COVID, are you able to open your windows and still have enough air, or do you keep your AC on all day long, every day, without even having some outside or fresh air. Noise, depending on where you're working, your environment. If it's noisy, do you have some earplugs or something so that your ears don't absorb all the noise from the environment? So all these things are very, very important when we look at how functional your workspace is so that you're able to do your work at 100%. So a few solutions. You want to make sure that when you're looking at the functionality of your workstation, you're looking at reducing the physical and mental injury. Physical injury being, is there something that you may even trip against when you're walking? Or is there something that is in your view that you have to constantly think about that takes you away from your work, not making you functional, okay? Some tips: you can always rearrange your office to allow for more movement, more leg room. You can also put items that are frequently used in your arm's reach. A typical example is, let's say, a hairdresser who is doing hair. You realize that they're using scissors, they're picking combs. So if they are standing up and they always have to turn and pick a comb or pick a scissors, or you are at a desk, you're a desk worker, you are constantly turning to pick a document from your printer, you are constantly bending down to pick something from the floor. So all these things make you put yourself at a higher risk of mental or physical injury. Therefore, your workstation may not be as functional as you would have liked. Then, like I said, outside source or the natural source of light, we recommend that you put your desktop or your monitor should be on the side of the window, not against or not opposite the window, because if it's on the side, you can still have the light coming in this way and you can still see. But if it's against it, then the reflection on your monitor makes it difficult for you to sometimes see, because you keep seeing the shadows of everything else in your room on your screen. And the problem with that is, over time, you will develop what we call eye strain. And when you develop eye strain, it also comes with its own set of problems. We'll talk about that later. Then the next type of ergonomics is what we call cognitive or brain-based ergonomics. Now, brain-based ergonomics, most people don't talk about it, but it's also very, very common. And I'm sure a lot of you would relate to what I'm saying. So, brain-based ergonomics, we're looking at people who, let's say you are working, you're reading, for instance, and you realize that you've been reading the exact same thing over and over and over again, something that should have taken you 5 minutes or something that should have taken you a minute to read. You've been reading it for 5-10 minutes and you're still reading. And after all that, you realize that you don't even understand what you read. That means there's a problem. You are not concentrating. You have what we call brain fatigue, okay? Your brain is so tired, it cannot even concentrate on what you are trying to read. That is where cognitive or brain-based ergonomics comes from, okay? All right, let me just make sure everybody is online with us. I'm just gonna take a quick break and make sure everybody is listening in. Okay. Are you all with me? I just want to make sure you can hear me clearly. I've done presentations and then halfway through we say, oh, we couldn't hear anything, we couldn't see. So I'm just making sure you can see the slides, you can hear me, and everything is going great. Excellent. Thank you very much, Senna. All right, so we're going back. Great. So we were talking about cognitive or brain-based ergonomics. So the modifications you can make at work to reduce mental strain is what we're talking about here. The way your senses perceive information, the way you understand them, the way your mind interprets the information you're receiving, what determines the decisions you make, all that is cognitive or brain-based ergonomics. For instance, whilst I was preparing this presentation, I came by some crazy statistics, okay? Now, a lot of us multitask. As I'm doing this presentation, I know a lot of you are paying attention. You may be using your laptop, you may be using your cell phone, you may be using a tablet. Now, I just read that about a large proportion of the population keep their cell phones in close proximity 90% of the day. 90% of the day, our cell phones are within reach. So you don't have to walk to go and grab the cell phone, 90% of the day. And I looked at myself and thought, I know during working days, my phone is not with me because when I'm adjusting, I don't like to have my phone close because I get too distracted. But weekends, when I'm not at work, my phone is probably next to me. So that's true. Now, if you are working, you are typing, you're sending emails, and your phone is constantly beeping, for instance, you have notifications from Facebook, you have notifications from Twitter, from Instagram. So you find yourself going from your computer to the phone and then back to the computer. So there's a lot of multitasking going on. So this multitasking, your brain is like all over the place. You go in from email mode, and then you are responding to a text message, you're on WhatsApp, you say something on a group, you come back. So your brain is having a bombardment of information from left, right, center. People are working from home now. So you may be at your workstation, your TV may be on, your phone is by you, your work computer is by you, your tablet. So you realize that the information that your brain is processing at one given time is so much. And so at the end of the day, you may not get as much as you had intended to get done. So it is important for you to turn off the social media notifications if that is not the core of your work, for instance. So what I mean is, if all your work is on Facebook, then that obviously will not be possible for you to turn your Facebook notifications off. But if you have, let's say, an office intranet where all your emails and stuff are within that platform, then you can keep a particular time for social media. So for instance, you can tell yourself that at 1:30 or right after lunch, you will go on Facebook and check. But to be doing Facebook and your work at the same time, that is where the brain fatigue or the mental strain starts to set in. So we strongly recommend that as much as possible, you turn off your notifications, not only on your phone, but when you're working, when you need to focus, even on your laptop, so that you don't constantly hear that beep from the corner of your laptop telling you that you have a message on Facebook or Instagram or some other social media platform. Several repetitions of this multitasking thing causes brain fatigue. You can schedule specific times, like I said, for social media activity. And then you can also have a daily to-do list. This is an excellent way to reduce your fatigue, because you look at your to-do list, you make sure you've done A, you ticked it, you go to the next one, you tick it, and then by the end of the day, you realize that you've completed your task. By the end of the week, whatever goals or tasks you had put down for yourself, you realize that you've been able to accomplish them, and you have your brain or your sanity whilst at it. Then the other thing we'll talk about is the frontal lobe. Now, the frontal lobe is right here. I don't want to bore you with a lot of anatomy of the brain, but your frontal lobe is what is in your forehead, okay? Now, this is the highest point of executive thinking. When you are trying to create thoughts, you are really in the mood, you are thinking, you are making important decisions. It's your frontal lobe that is responsible for this. Now, within that frontal lobe, you also have what we call the motor cortex. Now, the motor cortex is what is responsible for movement. If you remember, we have the motor cortex and then the sensory cortex. So the motor cortex is what is fully responsible for all movement, like whether it's your arm, whether it's a big movement, a small movement, whether it's your toe, it's all coming from your motor cortex. Now, when you exercise, and when I say exercise, I'm talking about any simple controlled voluntary movement. So when I raise my arm and I leave it up here, it's a controlled voluntary movement. That movement stimulates the frontal lobe. It stimulates the frontal lobe because that is where the motor cortex is. And it's the motor cortex that is responsible for you being able to raise your arm. So guess what? In between the day, when you get tired and you can't focus, you can't think anymore, and you get up and you walk about, you do some simple exercises, you are enhancing your motor cortex, which helps your frontal lobe to be stimulated, and it helps you to come back and concentrate again. This is why some people, when they are so stressed, this is the science behind it. You may know people, I myself, this afternoon, I had to go for a brisk power walk just to get my mind and everything ready for this presentation. Because when you're stressed and you're tired, sometimes a burst of exercise just brings everything back alive again and you're able to go back to your work. That is because the exercise stimulates your frontal lobe and you're able to go back into your work mode again. So posture exercises in between the day are essential to enhance your brain activity or your mental ability so that you can work and work very well. So I strongly recommend this, and we'll be giving you some simple exercises as we go through this presentation. Now, I want us to do a very simple exercise here right now. As you're listening to me, I want you to take just 30 seconds or maybe even 20 seconds and rate your energy level. Just put it in the chat box. So 0 means you have absolutely no energy. 10 means that you have a lot of energy. I just want to know where you are at. It's a holiday. I know we are all relaxing at home, but I just want you to rate your energy right now and put something in the chat box for me. So I'm waiting to get a few answers, and then we'll continue. We'll be doing a lot of exercises here today, by the way, so just get ready. This is just the first one. All right, so I'm seeing some 8, 6. Wow, people have a lot of energy already. I see a 5, I see 7. Somebody is already at a 10. Excellent, that's wonderful. So now, let me go back to my screen. Okay, so now that you've rated your current energy, I want you to stand up, and then what you're going to do is, as briskly as possible, I want you to just march on the spot. Just march on the spot for a few seconds as I'm doing. Just take a few steps. Just take a few steps, just march on the spot, just like you used to march when you were in primary school or grade school. And then you can put some few dance moves in there if you like. All right, so now, after we've all been marching for a while, I want you to rate your energy again for me. So everybody who gave us some numbers in the chat box, I want you to rate your energy, put it in the chat box again. Again, 0 is the least energy, and then your 10 is the most energy that you could possibly have. So let's go back and see what we have. with the new ones. So I'm seeing a 9, I'm seeing a 7, and 8. All right, so I'm seeing more of the higher numbers when we matched and did the energy test again. So the reason for this is very simple. Let me go back to my screen here. So that short exercise of marching on the spot is movement, right? We're moving our legs, we're moving our arms, and that stimulates that frontal cortex, or the frontal lobe, like I mentioned. So once you do that stimulation, already your energy level goes up because you've enhanced the motor cortex, you've enhanced your frontal lobe, you are more energized, you can focus even better. So in between your day at work, in between meetings, when the stress level is building up, you are not reaching targets, people are on you, you have packs of files, you can just relax, just take a stroll around your office, march on the spot, and trust me, it's going to boost your circulation, it's going to enhance your motor cortex, your frontal lobe will be stimulated. Once you get back to work, you're able to focus and focus well. And that's why we strongly recommend that after every 30 to 45 minutes, you take a short 5-minute break, do some exercise, and then you go back to your desk and you find yourself even more productive. Other brain training exercises you can do to enhance your cognitive ergonomics. So on the picture on the left, on my left, you can see the gentleman. He has the first, on the topmost line, he's looking directly at his thumb, just focusing on the thumb. And then on the second line, he's focusing a bit more ahead. So let's say you start, this is just a few inches, then you can look further into the distance, maybe another 20 inches or so. Then you can look even further, all the way back, maybe the wall in the distance, maybe a meter or two away. So as you're moving the focus from point A to point B and point C, and really finding spots and focusing on that, again, you are enhancing the brain activity. This time, you're working on your senses, you're working on the occipital lobe, which is what makes you see. And this really helps, again, to bring you back into focus. Then the lady on the right is doing one of my favorite exercises. It's called the one-leg pose. So standing on one leg and just holding that pose. Now, some of you may be able to do this very, very easily. And if you are one of those, I recommend that you do it with your eyes closed. And then you see if you can still do it that easily. But when you do this exercise, there's so many things that are happening in your body at a go. So you move your leg, you have to hold your core to be able to keep the leg up. So you're doing some core stability, you're in movement because you're holding that leg up, and you really have to use what we call the vestibular system. That is what keeps your body upright so that you don't fall. You realize that when you start this exercise, there may be the urge to kind of pull your body to one side or the other. So you have to really consciously hold your body upright, and you're working with your vestibular system when you do that. So different parts of your brain are being activated so that when you're able to do this in your office, every hour you take a break, you do this, you are training your brain. You're also working on your sensory cortex, you're working on your motor cortex, you're working on your vestibular system, and all this will help you to go back to your workstation and be more focused. We'll move on to the environmental ergonomics. Now, this is where a lot of people think about when they hear the word ergonomics. So your chair, your table, and so on and so forth. I wanted to do this presentation because every day somebody asks me at the office, so what chair should I use? What table? How should I sit? And so on and so forth. So here we go. Environmental ergonomics is the next type. So when you look at the gentleman on the left, you realize that he has a very good chair. He has a great headrest. He has adjustable arm support. The seat can be tilted. He has a good lumbar support as well. Now, if you look at the picture on the right, she doesn't even have a fancy chair. She's sitting on an exercise ball. But look at the posture of the two people. So on the left, this gentleman has really bad posture, even though he has the best furniture you could possibly find. His posture is horrible. His computer or his laptop is very low. So he's sitting like this. And we'll go into that here in a bit. Then you look at the lady and she has just an exercise ball, but she's sitting upright. Her spine is straight. Her eyes are about eye level to the monitor, and she's keeping a very, very good posture as she does her work, just sitting on an exercise ball. So as far as what I would say is having a good chair is important. I don't want people to get hung on my chair is bad, so I need a new chair. You need a chair that would support you, but more importantly, you need to know how to sit well or how to use that chair so that you get the most out of it. Because in this picture here, you realize she doesn't have that fancy chair, but she's still able to hold this correct posture. And guess what? Sitting on an exercise ball in itself is an exercise because the exercise ball has a rounded surface. It's not straight. So when you sit on an exercise ball, again, you have to hold your core to be able to maintain that posture, and that alone is work. So again, that's what we call active work or active sitting. So you're sitting, you're working, but you're still active. You're not sedentary. So features of a good chair. Now, for those of you who are looking to get good chairs or you don't know if your chair is good enough, so these are a few tips that I will give you. You need to make sure that your chair has an adjustable headrest. That way, when you lean your head back, depending on what's going on, you still have a good support for your head and neck. You also need adjustable arm supports. So you can adjust it, it can go up, it can go down. Then the lumbar support. If you look at this chair, right at the base of the back support, you see that it's curved. That is what we call a lumbar support. It's there to maintain your lower back arch. You know, your spine is arched. So in the lower back, there's an arch there. If you have a chair that has a lumbar support, it maintains that arch and helps you to sit up straight. Now, as far as your seat, it should be able to go into at least 100 to 110 degree. I don't expect you guys to take a protractor and calculate that angle. But if you look at your couch, for instance, you realize that your couch may not be at a 90 degree angle. Okay, there's a bit of an inclination, typically about 100 to 110 degrees. That's what we're looking at for your chair as well. When you do that, you are not putting too much strain on your back. So these are some of the features that I would definitely, or the most important features that I would definitely look out for when getting an ergonomic chair. Then what else? One of my favorite things to use is a laptop stand. Now, a laptop stand, if you've been to any of our webinars, you've seen me use one or show one. It's a very, very simple tool. You just put your laptop on it and it elevates it and you're able to work without slouching. There are different types, but I like this brand a lot, or this particular type, because you can collapse it. It's very small. It can fit in your purse. You can take it to the office. You can bring it back home with you in case you're also working when you get home, and it works very well. So using a laptop stand, I always recommend it for anybody who is doing a lot of laptop work or working with a monitor which cannot be adjusted. If you're using a desktop, it's very likely that your desktop has an adjustable knob at the back that you can push up or down. So just look out for it and see if you can adjust the monitor from there. So keeping it simple, stupid, use a laptop stand. So we're still talking about the environmental ergonomics. You want to remove all obstacles from walkways. I've done ergonomic assessments for companies where you see cords and wires right in the path where people are walking, and you're just putting yourself at risk for a fall or an injury. You need to reduce the eye glare. We've talked about this by placing monitors to the side of natural light. Now, eye strain. Eye strain, a lot of us may not realize we even have eye strain, but this is how eye strain can cause a problem for you. Once one eye starts getting strained because there's so much glare, or because your computer is so close to you, you need to make sure your computer is at least an arm's length away from you so that you are not touching it when you extend your arm all the way. Because when you have eye strain, what happens is if it starts in one eye, you realize that your other eye will start compensating. So the other eye will be pushing the rest of your head in the direction where the faulty eye is, or the eye that is developing the eye strain is. So slowly or unconsciously, you will start bending your head so that the correct eye is trying to do some of the work of the faulty eye. So when that happens, guess what? Your neck is developing rotation. As your neck is developing rotation, your shoulder is your one shoulder is saying, hey, head, why are you coming this way? Go back. And then your shoulder is also compensating. So at the end of the day, this thing that develops into neck and upper back pain actually could have started from eye strain. And that is why it is so important that you make sure you don't have glare. If your monitor is already in that position, you can make sure you have some blinds, or you can use this sun block. There's so many things that you can do to make sure that you're not having the reflection of natural light onto your screen. Rearrange your office so that you have free mobility. Make sure you're opening your windows every day so that you have some air circulating through it as well. Now, the last part of ergonomics we're going to discuss is the most, I won't say the most important, but it connects everything else that we've talked about. So I want you guys to pay close attention to this one here. Postural ergonomics. Now, postural ergonomics is the way and manner in which you carry out your daily activities, whether you are sitting to work, whether you are standing to work, whether you have to pick things from the floor. The way you do things as you work on a daily basis is what we call postural ergonomics. So like I said, make sure you're keeping things in close proximity that you need all the time. And then you want to avoid what we call posture collapse or flexion. So you may notice I'm wearing something. It's called a posture brace. Now, I strongly recommend a posture brace for people who have a difficulty in sitting upright or standing upright. Naturally, your muscles are just used to you just bending like that once you're sitting or standing. Now, I want you to understand that the posture brace does not straighten your spine. That's not the purpose of the posture brace. The posture brace is there to serve as a reminder, because as I'm wearing this posture brace, once I do this, I can feel there's something on my back. It's not comfortable. So we call it biofeedback. That uncomfortable sensation in my back reminds me that there's something there for which I need to sit up. So once you're sitting up, you don't have that extra weight on your back, but as soon as you slouch, the thing you're wearing would remind you. So there are different types on the market. I have been recommending this particular type to my patients. So I'll stand up so you can see it. You just kind of wear it like a brace, and then in the back, it crosses around. So it goes it protects, or it holds the whole back so that you can maintain that upright posture. So I'll move back a bit so you can see what it looks like in the back. And in the front, you just brace it this way. So the posture brace, most people will wear it underneath their office. So you can wear this out. I just remembered I'm sharing my screen, so I'll show this when I finish. I'll show you what the brace looks like again. So most people will wear it under their office outfits, whether you're wearing a shirt or a suit or whatever. It's quite light. It can fit right into your outfit. All right. Now, have you ever had neck pain? Or if you ever have had neck pain, headaches, shoulder stiffness, or fidgeted to stay comfortable while working, meaning you have to be holding on to something, or you find yourself always slouching while you stand or sit? And have you wondered if your posture is in proper alignment? So what is posture then? Now, posture is the structural framework of your body to resist gravity. Whether you are standing, whether you're moving, you always want to maintain an upright position. So how you maintain that upright position whilst you resist gravity is what we call posture. Now, proper posture is good for your health. When you have good posture, it makes you look good. It makes you move better, and it makes you feel good. If you look at the pictures here, you can see that the person on the left has a slumped posture, forward head posture, stomach is protruding. And just by looking at her, you say this person doesn't look too healthy. But if you look at the picture on the right, you see how straight they look, head is back, shoulders are back, and they look better. So when you are looking this way, naturally, you even feel more confident. That's why we say that proper posture helps you to instantly look better, move better, and feel better. Now, when you have postural distortion patterns, it can impact your health. So all these and more are some of the things you may be experiencing due to bad posture. These are just a few examples here. So we have neck pain, we have headaches, we have jaw pain, back pain, hip, carpal tunnel syndrome, which is pain in the wrist, inability to balance, respiratory dysfunction, muscle tension, your mood, and depression. All these can happen due to postural distortion patterns. Now, if you have a poor postural distortion pattern in posture quadrant 1, that's from your head to the shoulder area. Maybe you have what we call forward head posture. Some of the symptoms are neck pain, headache, fatigue, general body pain, pain and tingling in the arms. Then if you have in posture quadrant 2, that's from your shoulders to about the rib cage. Then you can now have upper back pain, shoulder pain, pain around the base of your neck, difficulty breathing or asthmatic symptoms. You can even have decreased circulation when you have this kind of hump or slouching of the shoulders. Then with posture quadrant 3, we're looking at from the lower back area to the pelvic or thigh area. And here you can have low back pain, sciatica, that's pain of the lower back going into the legs. You can have digestive problems. Then we have posture quadrant 4, that's your knees and downwards. You can have leg pain, knee issues, shin splints, and so on and so forth. So if you have any of these symptoms, you definitely want to look at your posture. So we're going to go through why posture is so important. So if you look at the picture on your left, again, this person would have better breathing, better mood, more resilient to stress, as opposed to this person who have more stress, increased pain, difficulty breathing, and so on and so forth. Then one other postural problem, which is so common now, is what we call tech neck, or sometimes it's also called text neck. And that is spending too much time on our phones, on the, what do you call it, tablets, and we're having that forward head posture looking downwards. Okay, so that is text neck. Now this here puts a strain on your spinal cord in the neck, the nerves in the neck, and that's why at the end of the day, when you now close and you come up, you realize that you have pain here and in the neck, and you find yourself stretching and doing all sorts of things. So spending too much time on these devices in that slant forward posture can impact your focus, your mood, and how you think as well. Now, when you have forward head posture, it's as if you have an added weight that you're carrying on your head. So when you hold your phone in front of you, it's as if you're carrying a 5 kilo weight. That's like carrying 5 kilo bag of rice. Then as you bend, the weight gets more. So it goes to 18 kilos. Then as you bend further down, it goes to 24 kilos, even further down, 28 kilos. Now I want you to pay attention to the spine. When you bend that much, you can see that the spine takes an abnormal curvature as you bend even further and further. So I want you to take a 10-second and look at your posture. Or if your kids are around, if somebody else is in the house, just take a look. See if your head is leaning forward in front of your shoulders. See if you have that text neck while you're listening to me, maybe on your phone, or if your shoulders are just rolled forward. Even your kids, all the research is showing that kids today have so much of this forward head posture. Research done by Singh and all, 73% of university students present with forward head posture. Other studies showed 67% of university students having forward head posture. 63%, now look at this, 12 to 16 years of age, 12 to 16 years of age already are presenting with forward head posture. So if your 12-year-old who is still in junior high already has forward head posture. So what is going to happen when they go to university and they actually start working? So this is very, very important for us to look out for in our kids. So there is hope. We can have complete postural correction. And at Nova Wellness Center, we use spinal alignment by performing the chiropractic adjustments to perform specific correction or spinal adjustments to align the body parts which are misaligned or which have gone out of their normal alignment. Then we have posture rehabilitation. We have exercises that will reverse your posture distortion patterns. Then we also have habit re-education, changing the habits like we just talked about, making sure that you're moving in between your day and so on and so forth. So we just talked about holding your phone forward instead of the forward head posture, forward head posture type of way we look at our phone. So we definitely want to change that. And you realize that once you change that, people around you would notice, and you could also teach them the importance of doing this. So we talked about bringing your devices up to the eye level. I talked about using the laptop stand. You can also have what we call a sit-stand capable desk. So a sit-stand capable desk is one that you can adjust. You can either bring it up so that you stand up and do your work, or you can lower it and sit. So again, as you change your posture from sitting to standing, you realize that you're going to stimulate that frontal lobe. Having an active workspace. So an active workspace, we also talked about it. So that's the lady sitting on the exercise ball. You can also use what we call, if you don't have an exercise ball, you can also use this device. It's called a wobble disc. So a wobble disc, you would sit on it, and because it's a disc, you naturally have to wobble, okay? So we'll show you how to do the wobble when we finish the presentation as well. Then you can perform neck retractions. So after a long day of that forward head posture, or as you correct it, you can simply hold your chin and then pull it in. When you pull it in, you're reversing that posture so that you retract your head and your ears are going right on top of your shoulder. So perform 5 repetitions, hold for 10 seconds each. Then you can take what we call a posture break. After you've worked on your computer for so long, sitting there for hours, you can stand up, and then you can either just drop your arms and just stretch, or you can use what we call a TheraBand and just, again, stretch. Okay, so all these are simple exercises you can do right at your desk to keep you moving. Use a posture reminder. Many of us have smartphones that will prompt you after you sat for a while. Okay, it's time to get up. But a lot of us would ignore those prompts and then just continue right through our work. I think some of the watches even give you exercises. It will tell you to swing your arm to the left, swing your arm to the right. So please make sure you're using these prompts on your gadgets to make sure you take a break. Or you can put a simple sticker on your workstation that says move every hour or something to remind you. Set an alarm on your phone. I have patients who have done that as well. So if you implement these tips at work, it will definitely help to improve your posture, but it takes that conscious effort to be able to do that. Now, we strongly recommend that at least once a year, you have your posture evaluated. It is important. Just as you are having your medical checkups done at the beginning of the year, we also recommend that you have your posture checked. This is because so many things may have happened. Like I mentioned, the eye strain, you may not even be conscious of it. You may have lifted something and had a kink in your back, making you walk funny. The longer you take to treat these things, the more difficult it becomes. So we strongly recommend that you come in for a consultation. We'll look at your posture. We'll do your range of motion. We'll look at some x-rays as well, so that we can figure out where your postural distortion patterns are. And then we can give you specific advice that you can take back and use to reverse those posture problems. So how does this happen? I mentioned the spinal alignment, the posture rehab, and the posture habit re-education, okay? So how do you know if you need this postural correction? Maybe you have pain after a few minutes of sitting. Maybe you have, you look down at your devices more than 2 hours at a time. You're feeling stiff in the morning. You spend most of your day seated. All these are signs that you may need some postural correction. So if you do, like I said, we'll go through it and then give you a specific plan that will help you fix those posture issues. So in wrapping up, we do want you to look great, feel great, and move great. And we believe that you can do this with proper ergonomics. If you're able to implement these things now, whether or not you have pain, because somebody may be listening to me and saying, oh, but I don't have any pain. I don't feel anything. That's great. I'm happy you don't feel anything now. We want to keep it that way. And we want you to maintain it even after your active work years, because there are two options. You could spend your retirement in pain, in a wheelchair. Today the pain is here, tomorrow the pain is there. Or you could be active and still taking walks, still playing with your grandchildren because you did the right thing while still working. So it is important, if you're able to implement some of these ergonomic tips we've given you today, you're going to still be able to maintain that health and wellness well into your post-retirement years. So where to start from? Maybe you have no idea whether you have a good ergonomic chair, whether you have good ergonomics at work, and so on and so forth. We strongly recommend that you have an ergonomic assessment done, and not by anybody, by a certified ergonomist. And thankfully, in the last couple of years, I've been able to do many of these ergonomic assessments for tons of companies here in Ghana, and we'll be more than happy to help you and your company go through an ergonomic assessment to figure out where everybody is. And we're not only coming in to look at furniture. Sometimes people think, oh, ergonomics, they're going to say we should change all the furniture. No, that's not my goal, because like I said, we can change all the furniture and still people wouldn't sit well. But we want to make sure that whatever postural distortion patterns you have are corrected. We want to make sure that your space is functional. We want to make sure that you're doing the right things to maintain your mental ability, or to reduce mental strain. And then putting all these together, obviously your workstation would be healthier. So why do you need ergonomic assessments for a company or at that level? There are tons of reasons. So I'll just go through a few here. When you have that, you develop wellness and ergonomics culture. Everybody knows that, hey, we don't slouch here, we don't keep our wallets in our back pockets, and everybody is happier. People are more engaged because they know the right information and they know how to stay healthy. Then you would be living in a more of a preventative paradigm rather than curative. You would reduce pain and discomfort. You reduce the number of days people are asking, I can't come to work today, I can't come to work tomorrow. And then you also become very attractive because people know that, hey, these people take their ergonomics and wellness very seriously. We want to go and work for this company. You're going to increase efficiency and productivity, and you're going to reduce the overall medical cost. Because at the end of the day, if you don't put these measures in place, every other day, somebody is going to the hospital and paying for medication. And if that doesn't work, God forbid, sometimes companies are going to be responsible for paying for expensive surgeries. And all this could have been prevented if you put in the right ergonomics to start with. So ergonomic assessments are important, and your posture screen is important. So I'm wrapping up here. I want you to go to your chat box now. I'm hoping that everybody may have picked one or two things. We've talked about a lot today. It's already been an hour, and we've given you tons of tips. I just want to see what people picked up. So go to the chat box and write one thing that you've learned from this presentation that when you go to work tomorrow, you're going to implement. Or maybe you're even working from home. That's even the bigger problem now. People are working from home and not having a good office space and are doing all sorts of things. Well, this information applies to you as well. So I just want you to write in the chat box one thing that you have picked so far you're going to implement. For most of you, you are fine with the tips we've given. But for some of you, you may need a bit more. You may already have developed some of the symptoms or diseases I talked about. You think you need a posture check. You think you need to come in to be properly assessed. So we have a special gift for you. We want you to go to the chat box. There should be a link there. Click on the link so that you can get the special gift from us. Now, usually it costs about 650 Ghana cedis for your entire new patient evaluation. So the consultation, the posture screen, the x-rays, and the initial adjustment. So if you click on the link and we have your information, you're going to get that at 300 Ghana cedis. 300 Ghana cedis for all of this. I would strongly encourage you, if you've been thinking about this or you have not been to, you are not a patient of Nova yet, you've been thinking about it, just click the link and we will get back to you by tomorrow and schedule your first appointment. Now, for the month of May as well, you may be thinking, either you're an employer or you're an employee, maybe my company may be interested in having a corporate ergonomic assessment done. Now, you need to, again, go to that same link. When you fill out that information, let us know that you want a corporate ergonomic assessment, and we're going to do that at a discounted fee, so long as we can schedule you before the end of this month, because this month is posture month, and so we're doing a lot of activities in the community to educate people about posture. So if you want your company to have an ergonomic assessment, please make sure that you fill that link and let us know that it's the ergonomic assessment you want, and we have a special discount for you as well. Thank you very much. It's been a very long discussion. I'm gonna give you the opportunity to ask questions now, but you can call us. Our numbers are on your screen now. You can also reach us on Facebook, Instagram at Nova Wellness Center. The video will be available so long as you are registered. We will send you the video as well in a couple of days. Okay, so we're gonna leave. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that we can go into your questions. All right. So we'll go into the chat box. Let's see if we have any questions. All right. So a few people, Auntie Christiana says she's learned to sit properly to protect her spine. Mr. Fortune Che says to check his posture, take breaks between work. Excellent. Learn how to stimulate the frontal cortex through regular sit breaks and exercises. Yay, I like that. Very good, Mr. Samuel Ayim. So the link is up. Make sure you click on it and fill it if you want to be evaluated, or if you need your company to go through an ergonomic assessment. Mr. Kwame Boateng says to be conscious of the number of hours spent while sitting and working. The requirement to stand up perhaps every hour to get some circulation. Excellent. Very good. So I'm grateful to you all for sharing what you have picked out of this discussion. We'll go through and see if people have any questions. There are a few hands up. I don't know if they've been up throughout, so I'm just gonna allow Madame Patricia Ayim. Auntie Patricia, did you want to say something, please? Okay. Auntie Cordelia, did you want to say something? I don't think so. Okay. All right. Any questions?
Hello, Na.
Yes, Auntie Cordelia.
Yes, I wanted to say I have learned that You don't sit for too long when you're in the office. You check your posture, you check the settings of your computer, and then you take some short walks or do little simple exercises.
Okay.
That will help the circulation.
Great.
And that will not give you, that will help with the pain.
Absolutely. Excellent. Thank you very much, Auntie Cordelia. Thanks for joining us again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. So any other question? Yes, somebody has learned to check the posture of their children. That is so important. I mean, I have toddlers, and so I'm also always looking out for their posture when they are working on their computers and on the tablets and all that. If they can build the habit now when they are younger, then by the time they are our age, they already know that they need to keep an upright spine. But if we don't manage these things, then by the time they get to our age, then the problems we are experiencing when we are in our 40s, 50s, or 60s, unfortunately, they will start experiencing them way earlier. So it's very important that you keep an eye on your kids as well. All right. Okay, any questions? Let's check if there's anything in the Q&A. That's nothing there yet. Okay, so we'll be more than happy to have your children evaluated. That is important. And yes, to speak to that, I always tell people my kids were adjusted when they were a week old. 1 week old. That was when I didn't adjust them, but that's when they started getting chiropractic care. So the adjustments or treatment for kids are different from adults. But yes, I strongly recommend that you get your kids checked as quickly as possible, simply because it's easier to correct some of these postural distortion patterns when they are younger than when they're older. I get very heartbroken when I see, let's say 19, 20-year-old kids who have scoliosis, for instance. Scoliosis is when the spine is crooked. And at that age, most of them have finished growing and we can help, but it's not as much as seeing them when they were 10 or when they were even a teenager. So if there's a problem, then it can be corrected quickly. And sometimes there may not be anything to be worried about, but we want to make sure that they maintain proper posture as they're growing up, as they're carrying their school bags. So we'll be able to educate them depending on what we find when we do their posture analysis. So yes, I strongly recommend these assessments for kids. So the posture brace, I'm not sure if everybody saw it, so I'm just gonna sit back a bit so you can take a look at it. So that's what it looks like in the back, and you wear it underneath your shirt or your outfit, and you can purchase some at Nova Wellness Center as well. We have some for sale. Okay, Mr. Samuel Lim is asking if we can talk about sleeping posture. Sure, I certainly will. Yes, so Hago Na, yes, you can get the posture brace at Nova Wellness Center. So if you've clicked on the form or if you have our numbers, we can definitely arrange for you to get a posture brace. It comes in different sizes, so unfortunately, you may have to come in so that we give you the size that will best fit you. So sleeping posture, to respond to Mr. Samuel Ayim. Now, most people like to sleep on their stomachs. A lot of people feel very comfortable in that sleeping posture, but unfortunately, that's the worst sleeping posture for you. So we recommend that you avoid sleeping on your stomach. Now, this is because when you sleep face down, naturally, you have to bend your head this way. So that alone puts some torsion in your neck, because if you just slept face down like that, obviously you won't be able to breathe. So you have to turn this way or that way, and that's not good for your spine. Number two, when you sleep face down, you know, there are curves in your spine. So the pressure on your body, on those of the pressure which your body is exerting on those curves can cause the spine to kind of stretch out or straighten, reducing the curvatures. So we don't recommend that you sleep face down. We strongly recommend you sleep on your back. That's the best sleeping posture. Now, when you sleep on your back, you maintain what we call anatomical position. So you just stay in that position and you are not bending or twisting any part of your body to put any pressure anywhere. Then also, you can put a pillow under your knees if you're sleeping on your back. That reduces the pressure on the lower back if you've been experiencing lower back pain. Now, I've heard all sorts of reasons for which people do not like to sleep on their back. Some people feel like they have bad dreams when they sleep on their back. Some people feel like they snore. Some people say they feel like they'll die. I've heard so many things. If that's not comfortable, you can also sleep on your side and then put a pillow in between your knees, and that would also reduce the lower back pain and maintain good posture. If you're sleeping on your side, you want to switch from left to right. So sleep on this side a bit, you turn to the other side and sleep on that side a bit as well. So thank you for that question, Mr. Ayim. I hope I have answered your question on sleep posture. So Nova Wellness Center is located at Ringway Estates. We're very close to Country Kitchen Restaurant. So if you're coming from the police headquarters and you enter Ringway Estates, as you turn towards the Country Kitchen Restaurant Road, you see our signages. We're the road right after, we're on the road after Country Kitchen if you're going towards the Osu Cemetery. But yes, you can have a number. Our number is 026-995-2077, and I'll put it in the chat box as well, or so that everybody can see. 026-995-2077. All right, so that's our number. Okay, any other questions? Any other questions for us? Otherwise, it's been a great discussion. Thank you so much for joining us this holiday and spending the evening with us. We will be back with another Zoom webinar. Like I said, we will send you the recording of this so that you can share with your office and family and friends if they are interested. All right, there's a question here. Mr. Che wants to know what's the best pillow for neck pain. So neck pain, back pain, pillow, mattress. Thank you for asking this question. Neck pain or pillows, you need a simple pillow. Okay, you don't need the fancy pillow or mattress. Just a simple pillow. The purpose is to cover or close the gap between your neck and the back of your head and your upper back area. That's what a pillow is supposed to do. So you need to make sure that it's firm and not soft. If the pillow is too soft, when you lay down, you realize that your head is literally sinking in. So you don't have that support anymore. But if your pillow is firm, then it covers that hole and it supports the back of your head and your neck area. Okay. Now, you also, talking about pillows, you also want to make sure that you don't have multiple pillows. Some people are sleeping with 3-4 pillows behind their necks. That is not healthy, because if you sleep with too many pillows, you'll be creating forward head posture. So you put the pillows there and your head is literally leaning forward like that. That's not very healthy. So you need to make sure that you have just one simple pillow. That way your head is protected. Okay. All right. So I hope that is also answered. All right. Any other questions, please?
Doctor.
Yes, Auntie Cordelia.
Yes. You see, sometimes when we are in the kitchen or we are ironing, let me use ironing, we stand for long to iron, especially when we've done the laundry. But at some times you realize that after standing, you have pain in maybe one of the legs. And mostly I experience it on the right. I don't know if it's the standing position, but I think I spoke to somebody and said, when you are just in the kitchen or ironing, just put one foot, the right foot, on a stool. So I just want to find out if that is, I have started, but I haven't noticed anything yet because I don't do much ironing these days.
Okay.
But I just want you to tell us, yes, if there's a position that would help us.
Okay. All right. So standing, I think what usually happens is when we stand, we are not putting equal body weight on both legs. So exactly. Naturally, you may be leaning more of your body weight on one side or the other. So after you've stood for a while, that side obviously gets tired. You may start having pain, or you may start having different weird sensations in that leg. So what I want you to practice is to stand and stand. Imagine that you're really focusing on putting your full body weight on both legs or on both sides of your body. That way you are not heavier for one side than the other. So that will help. That's one. Two, if you are ironing, just like whether you are sitting or you are standing, I would still recommend that after 30 minutes of standing straight and ironing, you take a break. So you can sit, you can go and do something else, break that posture, because like we said, movement is good. So once you break that posture and then you come back after 5 minutes, you're able to continue your ironing, or you're able to stand even better. So those are the two tips that I will give you for
thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. So Mrs. Ayim is asking, can a poor sitting posture affect a pregnant woman after birth? Certainly, absolutely. And you know, when you're pregnant, it changes your spine because your ligaments have to get loose so that the spine can, the lumbar spine especially, can be accentuated for your abdomen to open up and carry and hold baby. So there are a lot of changes that happen in the spine for a pregnant woman. So it sometimes is uncomfortable, but I think it's very important that even during the pregnancy, you do your best to maintain good posture. And then after, same, if you maintain proper posture, it will help those ligaments and those structures of the spine to rebound or to get back to their normal self quickly. And sometimes it's very difficult, especially if you're breastfeeding. For instance, if you've just had a baby and you're breastfeeding, you find yourself sleeping in very weird postures because you're sleeping and breastfeeding. Sometimes you are slouching to breastfeed. So yes, as difficult as it may be, I would still recommend that you do well to sit as much as straight as much as you can. Bring baby to you. You can support with a lot of pillows, put a lot of pillows under baby so that baby is elevated, and then baby comes to the breast as opposed to you going down to put the breast in baby's mouth. So yes, it is very, very important for pregnant women to also practice good sitting habits, okay? Otherwise, it only becomes more difficult to get your spine back to its normal self, okay? All right, great. Excellent. Any other questions? Any other concerns? All right. So thank you very much. Thank you so much for joining. It's been a good hour and 20 minutes today, and we look forward to seeing you. Make sure you take advantage of the offer. Make sure we have your information so that we can get back to you and schedule you for your appointments. All right. Excellent. Have a great rest of the day, and